Hello everyone, let's get to it. So we are talking about retirement plans and in general long-term savings goals. So we're not talking about goals in the next 5 years or so. We're talking 20, 30, 40 years from now. And now that you've been in class for a little bit, we've been working on this, you can see with the magic of compound interest how certain investments can make you a millionaire over the course of many, many years. So here we have two LEQs. What is diversification and why is diversifying your investments important to financial success? And what kinds of retirement investments are available for consumers? All right, so here is the idea of diversification. So class, what is the root word of diversification? To diversify. So the next question is, what does diversify mean? It means to change up, if you will. When I say diversification, you guys see this on a test, I want you to think about the old phrase, don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Now here's why. If you drop that basket, all of your eggs are going to crack, hypothetically speaking. However, if you have multiple eggs in different baskets, if you only drop one basket, you still have all those other baskets with perfectly good eggs. Now the reason we diversify our investments, for example, it is so much better in the long run. Now guys, please remember, I'm talking about in the long term. In the long term. In the long term. It is better to buy one share of 500 different companies than 500 shares of one company. For example, in the short term, so say in the next couple of years, Google is probably going to do better than some, I don't know, basket maker running out of someone's garage in Alaska. In the short term, that's probably true. So in the short term, buying 500 shares of Google might be a better investment. However, in the long term, guys, I can't predict the future. I have no idea what's going to happen to Google. No idea at all. However, there is the possibility that that small random basket shop out in Alaska expands, gets on the New York Stock Exchange, starts selling internationally, gets on Amazon, and the value of their stock goes up 5,000%. So it's best to buy one share of 500 different companies than 500 shares of one company because it allows you to diversify your investments. If one company fails, who cares? I have 499 other investments the past 30 years that are getting me 10% return on my investment. If 20 companies fails, who cares? I have all these hundreds of other companies that have been getting me a 10% return on my investment on average over the past 20 or 30 years. Another example, it is not wise to invest all of your money in a certain industry. For example, back in the 1990s, you guys were hardly born. That's like the start of the internet. That's when Google came around. That's when Apple was up and coming again. Microsoft was a big deal. Bill Gates was still president of Microsoft. Like everyone was investing in technology. And in the early 2000s, it was called the technology bust for various reasons we're not going to discuss here. The value of almost all technology stocks went down a lot. People who over-invested in technology lost a ton of money. So it's best to invest some of your money in technology, some of your money in consumer goods like Walmart, some of your money in energy such as ExxonMobil or Shell Gas or BP. Invest some of your money in, I don't know, other miscellaneous international companies because you never know. So that's the idea of diversification. Have your hands in as many baskets as possible and don't put all of your eggs in one. So let's change our LEQs now. We are now going to talk more specifically, so keep the idea of diversification in mind throughout these next several slides. So what types of retirement investments are available to consumers? Now, when you guys go online or through your employer and you say, hey, I'm ready to contribute to my retirement account, there are many different types of retirement accounts. Now, here's the deal, though. Everyone gets confused. Well, what's a 401k? What's a 403b? What's an IRA? What's a Roth IRA? What's a Roth 401k? You have to understand they all have the same goal. They are all long-term or retirement investment accounts. Like that's it. That's all they exist for, is to generate a high return on investment for someone over the course of time. Now, the reason there are differences is in the way that they are treated. For example, a 401k is treated differently than a Roth IRA. It could be treated differently in how your money is taxed, how much money you can put in, when you can take your money out, when you can start putting money in. Does your employer sponsor it? Does your employer back it? Do you have to do it by yourself? So they all have the same goal, but there's differences between them. So what we're going to do in the next few slides is we're going to look at the three most common retirement accounts. So a 401k, if you have a job, chances are you've heard of a 401k. And if you plan on staying at this job for a while, I would recommend putting money in your 401k. So it's a retirement savings plan. Now here's the key phrase, sponsored by an employer. Okay, my 401k is through Polk County Schools. I could not go get a 401k by myself, or I could not invest in Publix's 401k. You have to work there. It lets a worker save and invest a piece of their paycheck before taxes are taken out. So for example, for the sake of simplicity, class, for the sake of simplicity, let's say I want to invest $1, okay? Now, taxes is 7%. So of that $1, if this were a traditional type of account, I would only be able to contribute 93 cents. However, because it's a special retirement account, they let me contribute that whole dollar without taking taxes out. That's pretty awesome. However, though, Uncle Sam always has to take his money. So once you take the money out of the account, say 30, 40 years from now, then they take out your taxes. However, in the long run, this is generally a better way to do it. All right, now here we have an IRA. An IRA is an individual retirement account. One more time, an IRA is an individual retirement account. Now, the beautiful thing about IRAs is you don't have to work for anyone. You can get an IRA through anyone. If you are 18 and are unemployed, you can still invest in an IRA. Most banks offer IRAs. You can get IRAs through different websites. Some of them are better than others. You see, if you watch the news, you see advertisements for IRAs all the time. Now, when it comes to IRAs, the most important thing to know is that behind your employer's 401k, an IRA is the best way to invest your money because of tax savings advantages. Are you guys getting the theme here? All these differences between 401k and IRA all revolve around taxes. Are taxes taken out before? Are taxes taken out after? So on and so forth. Now we have the Roth IRA. So first, the Roth IRA is named after a senator. His last name was Roth, and he basically said that the middle class needs a better way to retire. And look, guys, here's basically what it boils down to. A Roth IRA is the golden child when it comes to retirement accounts. Of all the different types of retirement accounts, Roth IRAs generally get the best return on investment. Not because the investments were better. For example, you could have a 401k, a Roth IRA, and an IRA. And all three of those accounts invest in the exact same companies. They invested in Walmart, they invested in Amazon, they invested in Microsoft. Cool. However, over the course of 40 years, you would probably get more money back from your Roth IRA account. Even though you invest in the exact same three companies, you would get more back from your Roth IRA account because of tax advantages. Roth IRA accounts have the greatest rates of tax advantages. Now, I just went through a laundry list of differences between these three accounts. So here's a useful table to help you guys visualize this. I don't want to go through this, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I would recommend pausing here and taking a moment to type down or write down some of the most important things. And in all honesty, the ones I want you to focus on is the contributions, withdrawals, and who maintains the account. So a 401k is through your employer. Anyone can invest in an IRA. And when it comes to contributions, one of the beautiful things about the Roth IRA is that when you take it out 30, 40 years from now, your money is not taxed. So that means if you have $1 million in there, you're going to get $1 million out. It's not taxed, okay? So again, in general, Roth IRAs are the way to go. So here's your LEQ in review. We talked about diversification, and the theme with that diversification is don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Spread them around through as many different types of investments and as many different sectors and industries as you can. Our second LEQ was the different types of retirement investments. And the ones look, guys, there's dozens of types of retirement investments, but the three most common, like 99% of the human population uses one of these three, two of these three, or if you're like me, all three of them. 401k, IRA, and Roth IRA. Remember, they all have the same goal, to make you money over the long term. The differences lies in how they are treated, primarily through taxes, which was discussed on the last slide. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you all in class.